Hey guys, it's Max. It has been 1 week since I switched from the iPhone 12 Pro to the brand new 12 Pro Max. And in this video, I'll tell you every real world difference that I found, both the positives and the negatives of both phones. Some that I was expecting and a few that really blew me away. And in the end of the day, which one of these two I'm gonna keep as my daily driver and why. Let's jump right in and cover the biggest concern that people have when considering buying the Max model, and that is comfort. Now, I have to say, when I first got the regular 12 Pro in my hand about a month ago, I was surprised by a couple things. First off, the flat edges felt really great in the hand, a lot better than I expected. But with that, it felt a lot bulkier than the previous iPhones. The 12 Pros and the regular 12s, they're actually a lot thinner than the 11s, but it doesn't feel like it because when you wrap your hand around the phone, you just feel way more contact on the sides. And that made me really nervous for the 12 Pro Max model. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When I put this one in my hand, I was shocked that it didn't feel as bulky as I expected. Maybe I just thought it was gonna be too crazy. But I feel like with this larger phone, in your hand not wrapping around as much as the smaller phones, it actually feels more comfortable than the 11 Pro Max. With that phone and its rounded edges, it just felt like it was gonna constantly slip out of my hand, and the 12 Pro Max model, even though it has a larger screen, it feels a lot more comfortable and secure in my hand, which I was not expecting. So comparing these two, the difference is much smaller than I expected, and it's no longer a deal breaker for me. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the design. Obviously, these things look almost identical. The 12 Pro Max does have a larger camera bump, and other than that, the only thing I notice is that the actual lenses themselves in the glass, it sticks out quite a bit more than the regular 12 Pro. And in some of my jeans, the skinnier ones, I actually feel the camera bumps pushing against my leg, which I didn't with the 12 Pro. It's not a huge deal, but I did want to mention that. Now, the other difference that I noticed is with the color. I have the regular silver version for the 12 Pro, and I have the gold for the 12 Pro Max. And with the regular one, the silver, after about a week or even maybe 5 days or so, I started noticing a bunch of micro scratches all around on the frame. Now the 12 Pro Max, it's been a week and I'm not seeing anything. The coating on the gold seems to be much tougher than the silver one. Now, the last thing I really want to mention is the wallet. Now, personally, I really like the wallet, and with the 12 Pro, I used it for about a week, week and a half, and I absolutely loved it. It fills up almost the whole back, and when I grab the phone, it actually feels a little bit more comfortable in my hand, and it actually stays pretty secure. I've never had it actually fall off putting it into my pocket or taking it out. With that said, using it in the past week with the 12 Pro Max, you guys can see how much room is around on the edges. Now, when I put my hand around it, it doesn't really do much for me because the phone is wider. My hand actually doesn't make that much contact with the wallet. And then with that, I'm having much more issues with the wallet slipping off. And then when I take it off, it feels totally fine. It feels just as comfortable. It doesn't add any comfort, which is weird saying that, as it does with the 12 Pro. And just to add on to that, if you have one of the iPhone 12 minis, it actually fits perfectly with the frame of the phone. And this thing is so secure on the small phone because you can't easily push up against it or up, that it just feels amazing if you have a 12 mini, but the Pro Max, not so much. And now let's get into the displays, and the difference is shocking. You might think that 6.1 inches isn't that much smaller than 6.7, but when you start using these, the 12 Pro Max really stands out. Every time I pull this phone out and I look at the display and I start using it, I'm just surprised by how large it is and how nice it is. Now, as far as productivity, and with that I mean email, web browsing, there's really not that much of a difference other than just everything being bigger. You don't really benefit that much from that screen size. Where it really starts to come in is if you're watching videos. Now, it's not a massive difference, but you definitely notice it, especially if you're actually switching over to say like a movie. And with that, one difference that I thought there could be is speakers. I thought the larger phone could have better sound, but in reality, I didn't notice any difference. Both sound just as loud. The quality sounds just as good, but the real big difference as far as the displays is gaming. I was playing some games, mostly Call of Duty Mobile on the 12 Pro, and I kept having that thought of, man, I wish the screen was bigger. All the icons are small, small. I'm not seeing as much as far as far away enemies. It is just so limiting, and the experience wasn't great. Now, when I got the 12 Pro Max in, oh my goodness, the difference in gaming is dramatic. So I would say if you're somebody that plays games often, especially competitive games, it is awesome having that larger display. And now let's talk about the biggest reason why some people want to move up in size to the Max model when they've always had a smaller iPhone, and that is camera quality. The Pro Max not only has a 2.5 times telephoto lens instead of a 2 times telephoto lens, but the main sensor, it actually has sensor stabilization now, and with that, a much larger sensor size as well. That means it should help out in low light photos, and everything should be smoother. Honestly, I didn't see that much of a difference. Now, I have to say, I haven't yet done a full side-by-side super detailed comparison. We've been working on a lot of Mac content, but early next week, I will be doing an ultimate camera comparison between the 12 Pro Max, the 12 Pro, and the regular 12, showing you guys all the little differences. And we might do that blind style. You guys let us know which way you want to do it, either me being analytical or having a little bit more fun. So I was expecting the nighttime photos to turn out a lot better, especially portraits being sharper, but it looked very similar to me. I didn't notice that much of a difference. And same thing with the larger sensor. The portrait shots with the wide lens looked very similar to me as the regular 12 Pro. And as far as zoom photos with the extra telephoto zoom on the 12 Pro Max, the photos look almost identical, even side by side. Let me know if you guys could tell a quality difference down in the comments section. Now, one thing I did notice is that the 12 Pro Max would take a lot longer to take telephoto shots at night using the night mode. Instead of roughly 3 seconds or so, it would take sometimes up to 7-8 seconds. And that was really kind of annoying. And that's because I think we have a longer telephoto lens, so it needs more time to help with that shake. And then with that, it doesn't let in as much light as well. So that was probably the biggest thing that stood out to me. Now, of course, we could have more differences, especially when we compare it side by side. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you guys see that video and you have notifications enabled. But if I can't tell a difference when I'm actually using it and trying to see a difference without putting them side by side and being super critical, I would say that everybody's gonna be happy with the 12 Pro photos. There's been a lot of improvements from last year. And to wrap this up, I would say that if you're trying to get the Pro Max model just for the better cameras, I would not do it. Now with that, by far, the biggest difference that I noticed between these two has to be the battery life. I really was not expecting this much of a difference. Now, both of these phones have smaller batteries than in the previous years, and the 12 Pro now has a larger display than it did before. And so because of that, the battery life isn't great. It definitely is a sacrifice compared to last year. And for me, it was kind of a shocker moving from an 11 Pro Max, because instead of having all day battery life, it would end up dying at about 6 to 7 o'clock. At that point, I would need to plug it in and top off, at least give it another 15-20 minutes with a fast charger in order to make it through the day. And I honestly was expecting to not make it through a full day with the 12 Pro Max, but I was really pleasantly surprised with the first evening after I used it a lot with the full day. And at almost midnight, I still had about, I think, 17% battery life. Here's a little screen recording. And every single day in this past week, not once have I had to top off this phone. And because of that, that is gonna be the biggest reason why I'm gonna be keeping the 12 Pro Max. It is so nice never to have to worry about battery life. Just plug it in every night and you're good to go. And with a power user like me, that is awesome. Now take that along with the larger display, which is great for watching videos, especially great for gaming. And the fact that comfort-wise, it is more comfortable than my 11 Pro Max while having a larger display and not that more cumbersome than the 12 Pro, I'm gonna be sticking with this phone from now on. I thought it was gonna be because of the cameras, but no, it's not. It's because of these other things that I mentioned. So there you guys go. Those are all the real world differences after 1 week of switching from the 12 Pro to the 12 Pro Max. Make sure you guys click that circle above if you guys wanna see my ultimate camera comparison. We're gonna find out every single little difference between these two and the regular 12. Click one of those videos over there if you wanna see another great video. This is Max, and I'll see you guys in the next video.